closing.
Hello, welcome to UmattR TV. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sterling Allison. I go to Farmington High School, and these are my fellow UmattR teammates. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Aylin Ceballos. I go to Farmington High School as well. I am on the cheer team, on Student Senate, BPA, and I'm doing an internship at Roadrunner Flight School.
My name is Aikele. I also go to Farmington High School, and I am on the tennis team. I volunteer at the hospital. I work at the college as a dual credit ambassador, and I love to cook.
Perfect, thank you guys. So I'm gonna ask you guys a few little personal questions to help our audience get to know you guys and to better between all of us. So kind of a random question here. Skittles or M&Ms?
Skittles.
Why?
I don't know, I just don't really like M&Ms, like the chocolate. I kind of just like the sweeter, just kind of candy like that.
Yeah.
I prefer Skittles. I don't think they're like the best candy in the world, but unpopular opinion, I don't like chocolate, and I just think chocolate is not the best, and so I prefer candies more like Starburst or Skittles or just stuff that doesn't have very much chocolate.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of an M&M guy.
Oh.
Did you guys know the backstory on M&Ms? Like, I'm pretty sure they don't melt like in your hand because in either World War I or World War II, that manufacturer made M&Ms for the soldiers so they wouldn't melt, like, because they wanted something to snack on. Yeah, not sure if that's completely true. I'm pretty sure though.
I think I heard that. That's the reason they have the candy coating.
Yep, so they don't melt.
Yeah.
Just a little fun fact there. But so, whenever you guys were younger, what was your dream job?
I really wanted to be, so my uncle, he was a botanist, and I thought that was like the coolest job in the world, but I could never remember that it was called a botanist, and so I would always tell people, I want to be a plant scientist. And so I would they'd be like, oh, what do you want to be? I want to be a plant scientist. And I didn't really know the difference.
I think I wanted to be an orthodontist because that's whenever I was gonna get braces, and then I would just watch YouTube videos about it, and I kind of just wanted to be an orthodontist.
I wanted to be a forensic anthropologist, and everybody was so surprised whenever a young kid said that big of a word, you know. But I wanted to do that because I would watch this TV show called Bones with my mom all the time, and it just hooked me right away. So that's what I wanted to do. But kind of adding to that, what do you guys want to do after high school or further in your lives? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm doing an internship right now at Roadrunner Flight School because I want to be a pilot. I'm not too sure if an airline pilot or another type of pilot, but I know I want to be a pilot. So that's what I'm planning to do after high school.
I am 100% absolutely dead set on becoming a doctor, even though I don't know what type I want to be yet. I am positive, sure that I'm going to be a doctor, and if that flops, then I'm going to I'm going to go to culinary school, and then I'm just going to be a chef.
Nice, all right.
Okay.
Well, I'm with you, Brock. I want to be a doctor too. I've kind of gone between neurology or psychiatry, but recently I was shadowing one of our local doctors. He's an orthopedic surgeon, and I watch a few surgeries and do some cool stuff, and I might want to be an orthopedic surgeon now, so I'm kind of going around, but thanks for sharing that. A few more little questions here. This one's kind of a funny one. Would you rather have every traffic light turn green or always have the best parking spot?
Oh.
If you had to think.
Does the best parking spot so if you're parking at a Walmart and the best parking spot is right at the front doors, but are there other people that you're parking next to?
Just the best parking spot. If that's the best parking spot to you with nobody there, then yes.
Okay, then the best parking spot. Because parking next to other people, or if it's crowded and there's one spot open and you have to park in between the cars, it's too scary.
Yeah, probably best parking spot. It's
Right.
I can always leave a little early to get, so I can get green lights.
No, I'm the every traffic light turn green. I'll park as far as I need to, but I love to just I've gone up Main Street before and it just be green the whole way. It's the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
So I personally do every traffic light. Okay, we'll do one more. This question's a little bit more deep, just to help our audience kind of understand us a little bit more. But where do you find inspiration? If there's a person or if there's some sort of thing, celebrity, family, anything?
I find inspiration with my parents because they're not from here, they're from Mexico, and so they just like came with like nothing, and they've just kind of worked their way up, so they've kind of just inspired me to do the same.
Yeah, I find inspiration through my parents too. They worked really hard in their childhood, and like they met at piano lessons, and then they they taught each of their kids, and like they taught me like really well in piano, and so they both worked really hard, and just like the way that they have raised their family is really inspiring to me.
Well, I like your guys' answers. I would also say my family or close friends, just because of that support factor to it, like you guys were saying, or just like looking up to them. So I kind of, the way that how they met and everything, and how they kind of built our family inspires me to kind of keep going through and doing what I'm doing. So, and then do you guys want to expand on any of like your hobbies or things you guys talked about previously? You guys are all, it's all right. Do you want to talk about flight school a little bit? Like,
so right now, this is my second week doing it, and right now I've just kind of been learning a little bit about like the planes and like how to do like pre-flight checks, like just checking the planes, and just kind of just seeing what the aviation life is like. I like to go outside and like just watch the planes like take off and land. And also, I think maybe sometime this week or next week, I'm gonna go up to like the towers and like see what they do up in the towers.
That'd be cool.
And just
always wondered. What about you? I've seen that you've gone to some like open tennis tournaments or things like that. Saw a few posts.
Oh yeah. So I really like tennis, even though like, you know, if I had started when I was younger, like if my parents had forced me to do tennis lessons, then I would have loved, and like I would have been way better than I am now. But I just started playing tennis my freshman year, and I like just fell in love, and I just love like watching. Or so actually my sophomore year, I was researching just like different tennis tournaments, and there's this tournament called Indian Wells in California. And so do you guys understand like the Grand Slams in tennis? There's like 4 Grand Slams every year. And they're like the big tournaments. Like if you win a Grand Slam, you're the best in the world.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's the Grand Slams, but then there's like a tier right below it, and they're called like Masters tournaments. And so Indian Wells is in California. It's like where Coachella is, and it's a Masters tournament. It's the 5th largest tournament in the world, behind all the Grand Slams. So it's the biggest tournament that's not a Grand Slam. And I researched it, and then I looked up like, what if I could be a ball boy there? And so I looked up like, oh, like can I be a ball person, like the people that tosses the balls to the actual players? And so I looked it up, and it was like, yeah, you just have to do 10 hours of training or whatever, like, and then you have to do like some online quizzes. And so I like did online things, and then I went to California and I did like actual training there. And then like a month or 2 later, I got to go to the actual tournament with like the absolute best in the world. Like Serena Williams has won that tournament before, Roger Federer has won that tournament before, and so, you know, they were both retired by the time I got there, but when I was playing there, like I was the person standing 2 feet away from the players, tossing them the balls and like catching the ball after the serve and everything, and that was like the coolest tennis experience ever.
Yeah, it
That
seems
is
like
so cool.
Seems like a cool experience. Yeah. But you came from Nevada, right, before you moved here? So
yeah,
you're kind of aware, like more familiar with the California area too?
It's not like, even Nevada compared to here, like Nevada's a big state. And so, you know, there's more like Reno area in Nevada where it's, you know, kind of like Utah weather that we think of, like cold, snow, trees everywhere. I lived more South Nevada, like near Vegas area. And so Vegas is really dry, just like Farmington. And so the actual like climate of the area isn't too different. And like California, that was probably my first time going to California, even though it was so close. It was just like, if you lived in Nevada and you really wanted to go to California all the time, you could. My family just never really wanted to that much.
Well, all right. I guess whenever I think of Nevada, it's like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what goes through my head whenever I think of Nevada. So now that our audience knows us a little bit better and we've shared some more personal things, do you guys want to share your story or talk about it to them?
Okay, so my story starts when I was in 9th grade. I made some pretty bad friends and was making pretty bad decisions with them. But at the time, I didn't know that these were bad friends, but I knew that they were bad decisions. And so it took me a while to realize that I was disappointing my family and like my parents, because not just because it's like not the right thing to do, but because they did come from Mexico and they've sacrificed a lot for me, and I was kind of taking that for granted, and I didn't realize like how lucky I was to have the things I had and like the life I had. So it's just really important for me to like make good friends and like always just try to make my parents proud and not make bad decisions. So always be a good friend to have good friends.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so my story starts kind of back more when I was in kind of elementary school age. I think everybody in that time has just, we don't really know what calories are. And so I kind of just ate and ate and ate some more. And going more into middle school, I gained a lot of weight, and that was just kind of a problem. And it eventually turned into, being in middle school, I started to go through some tough times, and, I'd get made fun of for my weight and just like the way I looked and my size. And so it eventually led to me developing anorexia, where I would just go multiple days without eating anything because I was trying to, look better and be skinnier and like, tell myself like, oh, just a few more days and I'll look better. Or like, you look in the mirror and you think, oh, like, like everything looks wrong, it needs to be better, and so don't eat anymore. And so it was just a really tough time of trying to like just starve myself to be better, which eventually it turned into a few years where I just had a really bad relationship with food, and so eventually it became really important for me to join UmattR to kind of share my experience with other people that might be going through the same thing, because a lot of times eating disorders are not really thought of in the context of like guys. It's more thought of like, oh, girls are like, they're supposed to have bikini bodies and guys are supposed to be the big, strong people. And it was really hard for me, especially going through like middle school and, the very beginning of high school, thinking like, I'm ugly because I am fat, or I'm ugly because I'm not skinny enough. And so it was really hard for me to think that way, when it's almost thought of like, oh, like guys, it doesn't really matter. It's like, it's the girls that need to be skinny. And so it was really important for me to kind of share my story, and, it's important for everyone, but I really wanted to just like, maybe empathize with some other middle school boys or elementary school boys, or, people that might be going through the same thing.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So my story, it begins my freshman year. I had moved up to Wyoming, and I was at a friend's house, and I came home, and my mom was crying, and I walked up to my mom and I asked her, and I was like, what's going on? And she told me my parents were getting divorced. And at that time, I felt very confused, a little lost. I wasn't sure what was going on or why they were getting divorced, like it just hit me all of a sudden. And then for a while there, it was just kind of on and off. Like I knew they were getting divorced, but it didn't really seem like it. And then a few months later, I'm going into my sophomore year, and through my sophomore, it's still on and off. And into my junior year, my parents acted like they were kind of like getting back together, like they weren't getting a divorce. And my mom had gone out of town to go see some members for her job. And my dad had found something that, kind of sparked the whole thing again. And he had asked me that, he like looked at me and he's like, your mom and I are going to complete this divorce, like it's going to be over. And I was like, he's like, I need your help to move stuff back to Wyoming, like I can't be here anymore. And so I helped him kind of move everything back. And after that initial situation, it kind of put me a lot more in the middle of it. Of course, my mom was like asking me questions all the time. What is your dad doing? Where is he at? Who's he with? Like, what's going on with him? And my dad would do the same for my mom. He would ask, like, what's your mom doing? What has she been doing? Who's she with? All that stuff. And so it really put me in the middle. And of course, I'm trying to be on their good side, not choose a side. So I just kept feeding both ways. And it felt like they were pulling me back and forth. And during the assemblies, whenever I talk to the kids, I want them to like, I know this happens a lot in divorces. So I want them to like understand that it's not their fault. They are not alone in that situation, and that they shouldn't be in the middle of it. And so I try to just tell them like they're not alone. It's going to be okay. And I talk like, because now I go to therapy to get help with like kind of coping with the divorce and everything, my parents separating, and I tell the kids, like, I'm going to get help, so it's okay if you go to get help, because it really does, like, make an impact on helping you deal with the situation. So I just really try to spread that positive message towards the kids when I talk about it. So, all right, guys. So thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure audience really enjoyed getting to, like, hear more about you and, like, kind of where you came from and, like, more just personal things, of course. Another important question that I think the audience would want to know is, why is it important for you to be on the UmattR team?
I think it is important for me to be on the UmattR team just to spread awareness to, like, younger kids, because I know that there's a lot of younger kids just like me that have parents that aren't from this country and that want to also make their parents proud, and, like, know that there's also, like, better friends out there even if they don't know it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it a tiny bit, but I really, it was important for me to be on UmattR because I just want to, like, I didn't live in Farmington, I lived in Nevada, and so we didn't really have a program like this where I lived, and so I just kind of want to be there for someone else when I didn't have somebody else there for me, and just kind of help somebody, not go down the same path.
Well, thank you, guys. For me, it's important for me to be on UmattR just because I want to spread that message that, like, that I know a lot of kids feel lost and, like, it's their fault in a lot of things. So I just want to, like, spread awareness on that and in our community, just to, drug and alcohol free, and that, like, it's okay to go get help and just to get that support you need. So
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Thank you, guys, for joining us today, and keep following up on our Facebook and our Instagram. We also post blogs and podcasts to our website, so thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.